the topics I'm going to talk about in quantum computing. So, what is a quantum computer? What is the difference between a classical computer and quantum computer? What are the key terminologies and what are the challenges as of today? Yeah. So, what is a quantum computer? Quantum computers are machines that use the properties of quantum physics to store data and perform computations. So, which means our traditional classic computer is not using our quantum physics, whereas this one that is purely electronic, whereas this one uses ions, photons, all those things. So why quantum computer? So why should we need a quantum computer? We have seen what is it. It is just be using a quantum physics or a concept, but there is more to it because that quantum computer and quantum physics by itself is a very confusing terminology. Even Einstein has mentioned that it is he has not fully understood it. So why quantum computer? This can be extremely advantageous for certain tasks where they could vastly outperform even our best supercomputers. So which means for the best of the supercomputers we have today, if a calculation involves several years of computation, quantum computers can do it probably in a few hours or few minutes. So there are a lot of challenges, but there is a good way that if we overcome the challenges in quantum computer, we can reap more benefits. Okay, what is the difference between a classical computer and a quantum computer? Classical computers, which include smartphones and laptops, encode information in binary bits that we know, that can be either zeros or ones. In a quantum computer, the basic unit of memory is called a quantum bit or qubit, right? So in classical computer, we say bit. In quantum computer, it is qubit. Are they the same? No, the basic information that is being stored itself is way different in a qubit. Qubits are made using physical systems such as the spin of an electron or the orientation of a photon. So this gives the power for a qubit to store more information rather than just a 0 or a 1. It is not a switch. Qubits have some quirky quantum properties that mean a connected group of them can provide way more processing power than the same number of binary bits. So which means they are connected qubits which can give different properties than the normal electronic computer can give. There are the three, we will see one by one why it is so different. So key terminologies are superposition, entanglement, and decoherence. So what is superposition? The terminologies are a little bit different than our normal computing terminologies. So superposition, what is superposition? Qubits can represent numerous possible combinations of 1 and 0 at the same time. I have bolded the at the same time because in a qubit, it is not only 1 or a 0, it can be both 1 and a 0 at the same time. It is like on a big sofa, you are occupying the two corners simultaneously, which might look paradoxical, but that's what gives the power of this qubit. This ability to simultaneously be in multiple states is called a superposition. To put qubits into superposition, researchers manipulate them using precision lasers or microwave beams. So to manipulate this qubit, we are using lasers and microwave beams as of today. So there should be another reliable mechanism, probably which are still evolving. So this superposition is the first difference in basic bit storage from our classical computer. The other one is entanglement. What is this entanglement? Researchers can generate pairs of qubits that are entangled. So you join two qubits by some means, and which means the two members of a pair exist in a single quantum state, which means if one is on a 0, other one will also be in a 0. If one is a 1, the other one will also be in a 1. But if you spin, there is something in between 0 and 1, the other one will also take a similar state. The interesting thing is this: changing the state of one of the qubits will instantaneously change the state of the other one in a predictable way. The third point is very, very important. This happens even if they are separated by very long distances. So instead of one pair can be at one place, the other part of the pair can be at a very distant place, but both of them can coexist in a same similar qubit state. So this is what is entanglement is. These are all very different concepts. They don't need to be very different to understand. So nobody really knows how or why entanglement works. It even baffles Einstein. Famous meter spooky action at a distance, but it's the key to the power of quantum mechanics. He said, Einstein's quote, the spooky action at a distance. That's what he mentioned about entanglement. He talks about the distance between the pair of qubits. In a conventional computer, doubling the number of bits doubles its processing power. That we know. To power, let's say, if it is a 32-bit machine or a 64-bit machine or a 128-bit machine, the doubling of bits will double the processing power. But thanks to entanglement, adding extra qubits to a quantum machine, just a few bits, produces an exponential increase in its number crunching ability. So that gives enormous power for a quantum computer. For instance, 8 bits is enough for a classical computer to represent any number between 0 and 255. So 2 power 8 is 256, we distributed from 0 to 255. But 8 qubits is enough for a quantum computer to represent every number between 0 and 255 at the same time. That is what is very, very important here. At any given instance, in a normal classical computer, so if you give 8 bits, you can either see one of the digits between 0 and 255, either it is 0 or a 1 or a 2 or up to 255. Whereas in a qubit, you can see all of them 0 to 255 within the same 8 bits at the same time. So that gives enormous power for quantum computing in number crunching. A few hundred entangled qubits would be enough to represent more numbers than there are atoms in the universe. So this is just an example where it can say about the power of qubits and the various states that it can take simultaneously. Okay, what is decoherence? The third one is decoherence. The interaction of qubits with their environment in ways that cause their quantum behavior to decay and ultimately disappear is called a decoherence. So entanglement is one thing, decoherence is the opposite one. So it will ultimately decay and ultimately disappear. The challenge in quantum computing is this decoherence. It happens so fast and it can be disturbed by environmental and other noises so very easily. So why are quantum computers kept in ultra low temperatures during its operation? You will see that in a quantum computer model that has been built in universities. In fact, IBM is working on one, and Google is working on one quantum computing machine. There is a company called Regity, so they are also working on one along with other universities. So they are building machines at ultra low temperatures. Why should they go to ultra low temperatures? Is their quantum state is extremely fragile. The qubit is extremely fragile. The slightest vibration or change in temperature, disturbances known as noise in quantum speak, can cause them to tumble out of superposition before their job has been properly done. So even if you measure, if you want to see whether it is a 1 or a 0, that itself can erase the data. That's why researchers do their best to protect qubits from the outside world in those super cooled fridges and vacuum chambers. So they have to protect it at ultra low so that the stability of the qubit increases. So that is why they are keeping it in super cool fridges and vacuum chambers. So the challenges in today's quantum computers are this. For now, quantum computers are highly sensitive. What are the things that can disturb them? Electromagnetic field, collisions with even air molecules can cause a qubit to lose its quantum properties. This process known as quantum decoherence causes the system to crash. It happens more quickly the more particles are involved. So when more particles are involved, more number of noise, and then the signal taken from them is very, very difficult to handle. So with all these instabilities, why quantum number with all its challenges and instabilities? It can help us solve physics problems where quantum mechanics and the interrelations of materials or properties are important. So even today, quantum physics challenges are very difficult to solve. In that, this quantum computer can help. At an atomic level, quantum computing simulates nature and therefore could help us find new materials. This is not about existing problem, existing number crunching alone. It can help us find new materials. It can help identify new chemical compounds for drug discovery. It holds the promise of being able to take on problems that could take a normal computer billions of years to solve and do it in seconds. This particular para is still unproved, but this is what is being forecasted as of today. And the advantages are very big, but it is unstable as of now. And moreover, the other challenge is error computing, which is very, very critical. In digital computers today, there is an error computing algorithm that has been built by John von Neumann at some point. But because of the stability of the semiconductor compounds that were invented at a later years, the need for an error correction algorithm inside the chip level was not very important. But now with quantum computing, those are coming back. The same concepts, they have to bring it back for error correction to determine whether it was a 1 or a 0 or any state in between. Right? For example, if you want to copy one qubit, say on 3 levels, like in cloud computing, you want to take a backup. Right? If you want to copy a 0, it can either become a 0 or 30% 0 or say 70% 0. In that case, how to correct it? Then you have to employ the error correcting algorithm as part of the machine itself. So these are the challenges that we are facing in quantum computing. This is still at a research stage, but this will definitely kick in, and companies are investing heavily on this quantum computing. And these are the buzzwords we will be hearing probably in another 5 to 10 years. Any questions? Thanks. I am done. Thank you.
Yeah, very good, Bala. Awesome. Very, very nice. Almost like a university lecture, right? So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, but one thing is Amazon has a product they are called Bracket, and even these guys, Microsoft is also having something called. They have come out with introducing quantum impact. So they also started experimenting on this. So once these cloud guys are inside this new things, um, there is easy cash flow for them, right? Because if this technology matures, the existing machine learning training was kind of in the research only in the labs. Now it's commoditized by AWS and rest of the crews, right?
Correct.
But now with this quantum computing, this could take this to the next level.
True.
Yeah, it's
And machine
very,
learning is
very.
going to be, yes, machine learning and AI capability of machine learning and AI algorithms are going to increase multifold if this quantum computer stabilizes,
Correct.
but not in the near
Correct.
future. I don't think it will come in the next 3 to 5 years, because this is like, even scientists are saying that this is what we are today is very much analogous to what in 1950s about the valve system, the diodes and triodes. We are only in quantum computing only to that level. And if you are asking when is the first quantum computer it would be ready for us to buy, it is like asking when can I use Netflix in 1950s.
Yeah, but what I'm thinking is more towards hybrid model rather than the practical way of getting this into production is they steal some of the concepts on the quantum computing and start incorporating in our traditional computing, and
Right.
slowly it will near to that. That is the only way I think it could go to that
Agreed.
pure
Correct.
state.
And yes, and the way our digital computers in current terms are operating, that is going to stay for at least 2 to 3 more decades. And I don't think even in the near future or in another 30, 40 years, this quantum computer will replace our computers. There will be a definite need for the digital computers, which we have, the classical computers. But for other challenges like climate conditions and for other astronomical research, all those things, probably this quantum computers can come in and help. But our computers are going to stay.
Yeah, CNN will be very happy, man. Hey, who is the other guy? The person who taught us the computers, right? MIT. I
Which one?
forgot his name, man. Bala, his son is your friend also.
Purila, yaar, Purila.
அதான் நமக்கு சொல்லி கொடுத்தாரு MIT-ல.
பேர் டாக்டர் மதியழகன் சொல்லிட்டேன்.
Madhya. Yeah, I lost his name.